Hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are looking at our budget interesting commanders, or interesting budget commanders, I should say. The EDHrec budget aura commanders. So we're looking at the ones that are $2 or less on EDHrec. So they're top 5, basically. What is this series about? I kind of just give you a rundown. So yeah, what the budget commanders that are available for a particular theme. So what we're looking at. What is a theme? So it's a focus on mechanics that really defines how the deck works. This is the definition from Draftism I always use. The deck theme provides you with information such as which cards you'll probably be playing, the most efficient spells for each theme, how you win, and sometimes how you avoid losing. That's a very nice synopsis. I was trying to make my own definition, and I didn't do as well, that's for sure. And this is all about auras in this one, so the aura theme. Auras provide a nice boost to whatever target they are attached to. Auras are more flexible than equipment, potentially enhancing multiple types of permanents. The vast majority of equipment, at least, maybe not all equipment, is intended to equip creatures, right? It enhances creatures. Auras are much more broad. They can be used on pretty much any kind of permanent. So yeah. The downside is that if a permanent is destroyed, the aura goes to the graveyard instead of remaining on the battlefield. So if you have a creature equipped, the creature gets destroyed, it goes to the graveyard, everything else stays. With auras, they all go to the graveyard. So there's a very big downside you have to consider and probably have some recursion for. I feel like you can probably hear the cicadas in the background. They're super loud again today. If you live in South Korea, you gotta worry about cicadas in summer. They're really annoying. In the 99. Alright, so Winds of Wrath. This is like, I feel like this is one of the best board wipes in the game, but you do need the setup for it. Alright, so 3 white, not the cheapest. Destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted. They can't be regenerated. So you're going to enchant all your stuff, and then you're just going to blow up everything that is not enchanted. Or all the creatures that are not enchanted, I should say. 25 cents only. I feel like this went up recently and then back down again, but I could be wrong. Sage's Reverie for 3 and a white and aura. And when it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each aura you control that's attached to a creature. Again, a creature, not necessarily that creature. Any creature, right? So all the auras you have on creatures, you're going to draw a card for each one. Not that specific creature, just any creature. Really, really good in a lot of decks. Finally, SRAM, Senior Edificer. I've featured him before. He is so good. He's really obvious. I think a lot of people are like, oh, everyone knows SRAM. You might as well not mention it. But this is like an auto-include. So yeah. 1 and a white for a 2/2. Legendary creature. He's a dwarf or artificer. I think he looks more like a goblin. Or maybe? Okay, now that I'm looking at him, I feel like I always assumed he was a goblin or a troll or something. And yeah, he actually does look like a dwarf. Okay. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. He fits into just like so many decks. Definitely good if you're going to be making a lot of decks. Or if even a few decks, have like 2 or 3 of him on hand. Because he fits into just so many. 69 cents. Alright, countdown number 5. Preston Garvey, Minuteman. Alright, so he is 2 red, green, white. Naya. Hey, yeah. And for a 4/4, which isn't great for 5, but oh well. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a green aura enchantment token named Settlement attached up to 1 target land you control. It has enchant land, and enchanted land has Tap to add 1 mana of any color. So when whenever Preston Garvey attacks, untap enchanted permanent you control. Enchanted permanent. Okay, so this is a bit of a confusing one, I think. The ones with lots of text. So yeah, remember he creates that enchantment every turn. It is not triggered by him attacking. Him attacking triggers the untap effect. So basically, you're going to make that enchanted land so it can make any mana of any color, and then you're going to untap it when he attacks. So him attacking is not about like being able to necessarily, well, it won't make the enchantment. The enchantment thing happens no matter what, right? And then yeah, the untap effect is what's triggered by him attacking. Okay? Anyway, 30 cents. So we have a whole bunch of good stuff here. Gold-tailed trainer, 1 and Selesnya, so green-white for a 1/3. Aura and equipment spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is golden-tailed trainer's power. That gets out of hand very quickly, even if you can put like a couple +1/+1 counters on him. Probably most of your auras or enchantments, is it? Yeah. Aura and equipment. Okay, your auras and equipments, they're going to be so much cheaper every turn, even if it's only the one. A lot of auras have a casting cost that'll make that pretty small. Alright, so whenever it attacks, other modified creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is golden-tailed trainer's power. Modified is a great keyword. I think it's one of those batching terms where it's like it counts a whole bunch of things. So counters, auras, equipment, right? Equipped creatures with aura counters on them are all modified. So it's going to be pretty easy to give a bonus to a whole bunch of things just by him attacking. Getting those attack triggers is nice in this deck as well. Unquestioned authority. So when it enters the battlefield, 2 and a white for an aura. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Enchanted creature has protection from creatures. Protection from creatures is amazing because it's just, you're unblockable. Right? It's just automatically unblockable. Oh my. And Sticky Fingers. I love the name for a red and aura. Enchanted creature has menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. So when enchanted creature dies, draw a card. Great combination there, right? Card draw is something you always need if you're losing a lot of things. Like if you're losing the aura to the graveyard, you want to be able to replace it quickly. And yeah, this is also going to let you replace things very quickly. It's something you always have to consider with auras. So yeah. 25 cents for that one. Number 4. So Elevere of the Wild Court. Alright, so 2 Selesnya. Again, green-white for a 4/4. Not bad. 4 mana for a 4/4. Whenever she enters the battlefield or attacks, create a virtuous rule token. Attached to another creature you control. So if another role token is on, put that into the graveyard. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. In an Enchantment Matters deck, this gets out of hand very, very, very quickly because it's just you're making a whole bunch of creatures get these huge bonuses. This is not just +1/+1. This is +1/+1 for each enchantment, right? So auras, enchantments, these get very big. And whenever an enchanted creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That card draw is so easy to abuse because of things like Unquestioned Authority, that you can really getting evasion or just straight up making things unblockable is not hard with auras, and you can really kind of maximize the usefulness of this. Again, she is in 2,735 decks, 50 cents only. She allows you to keep casting. That's the real power behind this deck, and I would focus on maximizing card draw. So that's what my suggestions are focused on, is like keeping that card draw engine going. Alright. So Enchantress's Presence. I feel like this is one that can go in a lot of decks as well. 2 and green, and whenever you cast an enchantment, draw a card. Nice and simple, 36 cents. Sithis, I'm going to jump over to Sithis. Harvest Hand, Selesnya, so it's a green and a white. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, gain 1 life and draw a card. Hey, so if these are both out, draw 2 cards, gain 1 life. 146 for that one, and 36 for the Enchantress. Not bad. And getting kind of a different take on it, Danitha, New Benalia's Light, is 1 and Selesnya, so that's a green-white. Vigilance, Trample, and Lifelink 2/2. Having creatures like this in your deck is very important because you want to be able to just like make sure when you put that roll token on the creature that it's going to be able to like get damage through, and she can do that. Especially with Vigilance as well. She gets to block, so she's just like a threat the whole time. Lifelink is always good. Anyway, once during each of your turns, you may cast an Aura Equipment spell from your graveyard. That graveyard recursion that I said before, that's very important. This is like an ideal commander, or not commander, an ideal creature. I guess you could have this commander too, but an ideal creature to have in these decks because you always want to be able to keep fishing things out from your graveyard. Anyway, 96 cents. Number 3. Okay, 3 Dog, Galaxy News DJ. I feel like this is a very odd one for a Magic card. It's, anyway, yeah, okay. So 1 and Boros, so red-white, for a 1/5. Okay, that's actually pretty good. 3 mana for a 1/5. When you attack, you may pay 2 and sacrifice an aura attached to 3 Dog, Galaxy News DJ. And when you sacrifice an aura this way, for each other attacking creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that aura attached to that creature. So you're going to sacrifice an aura, and basically you're going to pretend the whole rest of the board has that aura attached. Making a token copy of it for only 1 turn, but for 1 combat, that's probably all you need with some of them. So if you do something like Unquestioned Authority, you're just making your whole board unblockable. Crazy. Anyway, he's in 1,326 decks. I would expect this to go way up. This is a fairly new card, and yeah. Boros is more commonly associated with equipment, so I kind of like that this is a little off. Even it's equipment in Voltron, and this is very aura and like kind of mass combat. So yeah, very different focus. So yeah, he is not what people expect to see from Boros. 25 cents. Okay, Detectives Phoenix, 2 and a red. And it has Bestow, so collect evidence 6. So you may pay its Bestow cost, pay a red, and exile cards with total mana value 6 or greater from your graveyard. I love this because it is getting extra value from your graveyard. Especially in these decks where you're going to have probably a lot of stuff in the graveyard. One thing gets destroyed, you can end up with multiple cards in the graveyard. Get them back out or make them into value. Okay, so enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and haste. You may cast Detective Phoenix from your graveyard using its Bestow ability. So the Bestow is something you can use after you've used it as a creature and just keep like basically bouncing it out of your graveyard. That's really good. You do need to keep putting cards into your graveyard, which is not a concern with aura decks. Anyway, 30 cents. Danitha, Benalia's Hope. Alright, so I actually put this on the last one, didn't I? Oh, no, this is a different one. Okay. First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. Very similar. I got confused for a second there. 4 and a white, right? The other one is Simic. Not Simic, it's Selesnya. Okay. So when it enters the battlefield, you may put an aura or equipment card from your hand onto or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to Danitha. So I actually should get this for my equipment deck because, yeah, automatically just get recursion of something. So she's 4 and a white for a 4/4 with first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. Already not that bad, but she's going to immediately pull something out of your graveyard and she gets it. Just bang, like that. He's going to be putting things into the graveyard, auras into the graveyard, so even if someone isn't taking your stuff out, you're probably going to be able to, fish something out to put back on her. That's 23 cents. And Umbra Mystic. Alright, so 2 and a white. Auras attached to permanents you control have totem armor. So he's going to put all of these token auras on all of your creatures. That combat, basically they all have totem armor. And totem armor means if they get destroyed, they don't get destroyed, the aura gets destroyed instead. So you're basically going to use all those token auras you made to make them one-time indestructible. Oh boy. Anyway, 112. Number 2. Light Pause. Emperor's Voice. So whenever an aura enters... 1 and a white for a 2/2. And whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura with a different name than the aura you control and put it onto the battlefield. Attach a Light Pause, Emperor's Voice, then shuffle. So basically you're getting a 2-for-1. Every time you cast an aura, you can go get another aura and put it on him. Oh boy. Very out of hand, very, very quickly. This is kind of a card you'd put in a lot of decks, I think. So he is in 8,128 decks. That's not a small number. And he is only 97 cents. So mono white is maybe not what people are looking for identity-wise for aura decks, but mono white does have a lot of great auras because of all the protection. So yeah, you can definitely get some value out of that. Once again, Unquestioned Authority is something I would put on this deck. I know I already had this on a different list, but it's kind of a must-have in this one. So yeah, 2 and a white enters the battlefield, draw a card, protection from creatures for that creature. 62 cents, Ethereal Armor. This is more important almost. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control and has first strike. Remember, all those auras are enchantments. So yeah, this is also only 1 mana, so you can fish it out of you can use Light Pause kind of tutor thing to get this out quick and throw it on Light Pause, and he's going to basically probably be in commander damage range as soon as he gets this, because it's going to add up very, very quickly, right? Anyway, 55 cents, and Core Spirit Dancer. This is another one I put in most decks, aura decks anyway. 1 and a white for a 0/2. It gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. Whenever you cast an aura spell, you may draw a card. So her and Light Pause together, you can cast an aura on her. She automatically gets +2/+2, and then Light Pause is... Oh, right. And then you're drawing a card on top of that, and then Light Pause is going to go find something and get a equip it to himself, or enchant himself, and then yeah, you're getting just so much value out of one casting of one thing. You tutor out something for free, and oh boy, you draw a card as well. 165. Dangerous combination. Number 1. Okay. What theme do you want me to cover? I always ask and no one ever has suggestions. I don't know why. Ariat the Beguiler. I actually did a deck tech on this. I'm going to try to remember to put it in the other corner. So yeah. It is 1 Esper. So white, blue, black. I love the color identity for one thing. She's a 4/4 lifelink. Not bad for 4 mana, and whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that aura's Mana value, gain control of that permanent for as long as the aura is attached to it. Crazy, right? Any non-land. Okay, so the only limitation is non-land, and you gotta have an aura that's like the same cost or higher. And then you just start stealing stuff. One thing that I think people misunderstand about her a lot is that if she leaves the battlefield, you do not lose control of those. So you only lose control of the permanents if they become unenchanted. If the enchantment is destroyed somehow, you lose control. If she goes back to the command zone, doesn't matter, you keep them. 27 cents, and she is in 1,759 decks. I think because she's a relatively newer one, but super powerful and fun and just very Esper. I think stealing all people's stuff feels very Esper, so yeah. Pearl Ear and Pearl Imperial Advisor. This is actually different than the Pearl Ear on the list. So 1 white for a 3/4 lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast have affinity for auras. Auras are enchantments, okay? So yeah. You're basically reducing the casting cost of all of your auras you're casting, and you want to cast big ones so that you can steal people's stuff with a high casting cost. That does not count against. The casting cost on the card is the only thing that matters for the stealing thing. If you've lowered the casting cost, that doesn't matter for counting how much you can steal. For instance, if you have an aura that's like 5 converted mana cost and you want to steal an enchantment that's 4 converted mana cost, if you're reducing the cost by 3, it's still okay. You can do it. Anyway, 50 cents. Killian, Ink Duelist. I love Killian. So he's Orzhov, white-black, lifelink, 2/2. Not bad. Menace also, hey, that's fun. Spells you cast that target a creature cost 2 less to cast. It's only for a creature, so that's a little bit of a downside, but it's 2 less for any targeted spell. Not targeted instant, not targeted sorcery, not targeted removal, targeted spell. So every aura you cast on a creature is 2 cheaper. Insane value, 42 cents. Oh, Pearl Ear Imperial Advisor is 50 cents. I think I forgot to say that. All that glitters. Again, this is one you should almost always have. 1 and a white. So it gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. I have this in my Boros equipment deck because it is so flexible, right? It will count artifacts, so your mana rocks, things like that. If you have equipment, whatever it may be, you get to count all of that as +1 for the creature it's attached to. 65 cents only. Oh, please hit like and subscribe. It does help a lot. The list. Here we go. Preston Garvey, Minuteman, 30 cents. Elevere of the Wild Court is 50 cents. 3 Dog Galaxy News DJ is 25 cents. Light Paws Emperor's Voice is 97 cents. Ariat the Beguiler is listed at 27 cents. I feel like that's lower than it should be, but anyway, take it easy.